What is up, Passport family? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be discussing everything you may want to know about having a car here in Colombia. In this video, I definitely want to go over some pros and cons. Should you buy new? Should you buy used? Is there really a difference? And at the end of the video, I'll touch on if I actually think it's worth, or do I regret or have any buyer's remorse after having my car now for a month here in Colombia. Now, starting off, first you will need to have a Colombia driver's license if you are planning on being in Colombia longer than 3 months. You can use your foreign driver's license from wherever you're from for the first 3 months that you're here, which is essentially your first 3 months of your tourist visa. If you do an extension and you're here for 6 months, then those extra 3 months you will need a Colombia driver's license. Now, you might ask, how do you get a Colombian driver's license? So the first thing you will need is a visa. You do have to have a visa and a cedula, and you cannot get a driver's license without having those two things first. So essentially, first you will have to get your visa, make an appointment, go and get a cedula, and then once you have your cedula, you then can move forward to these next steps that I'm going to explain as far as moving forward with getting your driver's license. Now, once you have those two things, you will need to go to this place here. I don't know how to say the name of it. My Spanish is still not super great, so I'm not going to try and slaughter it. But you do need to go here and register with something they call either runt or runt. It's pronounced a little differently in Spanish than how it looks or how it would be said in English. So you have to go here first. You're going to get a number. You're going to sit down, wait for your number to be called. And then once they call your number, you're going to go and basically tell them you just want to register with runt. You're going to give them your cedula, which they'll take down your identification number, and that number is going to be on your driver's license as well. There is a fee you have to pay. Unfortunately, you cannot pay it there at the office. You're going to have to go to a davienda and then pay it there. I did all this at Premium Plaza in Ciudad del Rio, if that helps, versus maybe you go to a different one and they don't have both in the same location. You have to go, find a davienda to pay the bill, then come back and show the lady the receipt and give her the paper she gave you, and then basically they'll register you with runt. Now, like I said, I did this in Premium Plaza. There is a davienda and this specific office both in the same place, so it just made it super easy to go handle both while I was there in the same place. So once you do that, you then can officially move forward with going to do your either driver and a written exam, and then your hearing, your sight, your medical exam for your license. Now, the exams basically are, you have 4 exams you have to do. You have a vision test, which I do want to say now that they do require you to have a little bit better than 20/20. I had LASIK eye surgery maybe about a couple years ago, and I'm just under 20/20, not quite, but I still had a trouble seeing the line, the smallest line they wanted me to get in order to pass without having to use corrective lenses. So just to give you a heads up on that. After that, you have a hearing test, which is just like you would have done in your preschool or something like that, where they give you some headphones. They're going to play sounds at different frequencies, and you just raise your left or your right hand once you hear that sound. You then will have a physical, which normal physical, they'll ask you about health. If you have any history of any health illnesses or mental illnesses or anything like that. And then your last exam will be something I have not seen before, but from what I've been told, it is something in Spain that they do. But essentially, you're going to sit down at a TV or a computer screen. There's going to be 2 joysticks on for your left and your right hand, and on the screen is going to be a split screen down the middle, and you have 2 roads there. You're going to have like a little ball in the middle of that road. You're then going to have to make each ball follow the road, and it's going to do different things on the opposite side of the screen. The road is going to go in a different way, and you have to basically guide that ball within that road without it going out or touching the outside or the outside of the lines, basically. If you do, it doesn't mean that you failed. You just want to try to keep it in as much as possible. Like I said, first time I've ever seen that. We don't have that in the United States. So that's everything you will need to, as far as for the driver's license. Now, exams. You will have to take a written exam, and you have to take a driving exam. The driving exam, you do need to have a certain amount of hours registered. I will say this, that driving test will be done on a stick shift car, and I'm just gonna keep it real with you guys. I didn't take that test. I basically just paid somebody to basically do all that stuff for me, so this way I could save time, and plus my Spanish isn't good enough to do a written test in Spanish without having to constantly keep using a translator. So this was just more easier for me. I paid somewhere around $400 at the time of this video, actually a couple months before this video has been filmed. So it may go up or down depending on whenever you decide to get a license and who you're going through, essentially. But if you do need help with that, let me know and I can help you with that. That is a part of my concierge service that I offer. So after you do that, that's pretty much it. It takes about a month for you to get your driver's license. And going into now, as far as cars, should you buy new, should you buy used? So in my experience and in my research, I noticed that at least for the cars that I wanted, there was not that much of a difference between cars that were used and new as far as within 2 to 3 years old. I don't know why, but for some reason the used car market is very high here. So in my case, there was only about a $2,000 or $3,000 difference, and I decided to go with something new because I just figured I'd rather have something with no miles or no kilometers, and it basically give me the full warranty. I didn't have to buy something that someone else, I don't know how well they maintained it. And I've already lost a year or few years of the warranty. So ultimately, that's why I chose to buy new. But like I said, the used car market here, the prices are very, very high compared to what they are in the United States. I'm not sure about the UK, but like I said, generally, even if a car is 2 to 3 years old and have, close to maybe 20,000 miles or something like that, you're only going to get like a $2,000 or $3,000 difference. So it was just worth it for me to just go with the brand new car. So I had two options as far as cars. It is one thing to note, or I guess I'll go into pros and cons here of having a car. Is one of the cons would be if you do not have a electric or a hybrid car, you do have something called pick-up placker, which that is 1 day a week you basically cannot drive. From the hours of 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. you cannot be on the road. You can risk it and try if you want to, but if you get pulled over, there is a pretty heavy fine for driving on the day that you're not supposed to. And like I said, it's only between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. This does last for about a 6-month cycle, whatever day that your day is. For example, mine is on Monday. This will last for about 6 months, and then it'll change to where they'll give you another day. That right now mine is on Monday, but it can move to a Thursday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, whatever. It can switch. It'll switch days. So this is one of the cons if you're going with the gasoline car. One of the other cons here I would say is definitely traffic. Traffic is definitely pretty bad here in Medellin if it isn't a holiday weekend. And one of the other cons would be the motorcycles. Motorcycles are extremely, extremely annoying here. I swear they drive like they don't want to live. And They will constantly split lanes. They will go in front of your car, while you're driving, where you have to make abrupt stops. Motorcycles are definitely the biggest con of driving here because there's so many of them. You essentially have to kind of make way for them versus it being the other way around, even though you're a car or you're in a car. Pros, honestly, the biggest pro is convenience. Not having to wait for Ubers. Just to go into a quick story real quick, I had a situation not too long ago where a girl I was dating, she had an issue with like gallbladder stones, and it was maybe 2:30 in the morning. She wakes me up, and she's like, I'm in a lot of pain. I need to go to the hospital. And at this time in the morning, it's extremely hard to, one, find an Uber, but two, let alone get an Uber or a taxi. And, I would have had to wait a long time. She's sitting here crying in pain. So luckily, because I had a car, I was able to just jump in my car and go to the hospital and figure everything out. With that story, I ended up having to go to 3 different hospitals, but I was fortunate enough that I had my own car that I could just get up and go versus having to keep waiting for taxis or Ubers or whatever and have that inconvenience. The other pro, I would say, is that it is what I like to call an anchor, and I've talked about this before on my channel, is that when you're starting to get to know people and form relationships, it shows that you have an anchor here, that you're not going anywhere anytime soon. Aside from it being, a bit of a status symbol and it's showing that you have some type of stability, you really don't need something super crazy here as far as, a Mercedes or something like that. It's just having a car is good enough. So those are definitely your pros and your cons, at least so far. I may have to make an updated list of this in the future if I find more cons, but as of now, those are the only real cons that I can find. I will have to, I'm still in the point of trying to calculate, is it, the total cost of ownership per month, is it cheaper than doing Uber? But I will say this, I was spending somewhere around $300-400 a month in Uber, and that's just depending on the time of day that you decide to travel. Like, for some reason, a lot of times I would have to get an Uber right in the middle of rush hours, so of course you're paying the higher rates. And then as well, if you're trying to go home from a club, or if you went out with some friends and you're leaving to go back home around 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning or something like that, you're going to be paying those surge rates as well. So I'm still going to make an updated video with cost of ownership of, am I paying more to have a car, or am I actually saving money? I still got to calculate that.
Hey guys, are you coming to Medellin, Colombia soon and want things perfectly managed for you? Well, with my concierge team, we'll be providing a personalized service tailored to your unique needs. I'm here to make your life easier with services from everything from visas, airport transfer tours, excursion, bilingual assistance, hosting, photo shoots, money transfers, and personal drivers, and a lot more. I know when you come to Medellin, you want to maximize your experience. You don't want to have to worry about where we're going to eat, where we're going to go out. With this service, it takes out all the thinking and does a lot of the planning for you.
So going into my options of cars, or at least I had 2 options. I had, as far as cars that I wanted a Renault Arcana, and this is a hybrid car. I believe it gets up to about 50 miles per gallon, something around there. And the other one was the Kia K4, which is a regular gasoline car. And this probably averages somewhere around 30 miles per gallon, so less than the other one. But ultimately, why I ended up choosing the Kia K4 was because it had a better interior and tech. And in this segment, or in the price point that I was looking at, these both roughly are right around the same price. Neither one of them are amazing in performance, but to be honest, you don't need a super fast car here. I would say the fastest you'll ever probably really go will be somewhere around 80 kilometers, which may be around like 60 miles or 70 miles, something like that, maybe less, maybe like 60 miles an hour, something around there. So You don't need a super fast car. The reason why I did not go with the Renault Arcana was even though I liked the whole hatchback SUV kind of coupe look, I used to have a GLE AMG 63S in the States. This kind of reminded me of that, the Renault Arcana, just not as sporty. But ultimately, I wasn't really blown away with the interior. I hated the infotainment center or system, the whole vertical part of it. Also, it just was very basic, and the backup camera was really, really bad. It was almost as if looking through a camera of a cell phone that was super, super cheap. So that kind of ruined it for me. And then as far as the Kia K4, that had pretty much everything I wanted as far as interior, the flat screen panel, the technology, the wireless Apple CarPlay. I think both of them had that, but it had the Type-C charging ports. The other one did not. This one also had rear AC vents. I believe the Renault Arcana didn't. I can't remember at this point. And I was looking at the Renault Arcana Alpine, which is like the top of the line version. And like I said, it still just didn't blow me away versus looking at the Kia K4, which is the GT line, which would be the top of the line for that one. Actually, no, I think that's the only model they had. They didn't offer the other models that they have in the US and Mexico. Here, it was just one. It was just the GT line. And this one had everything as far as the interior, the technology. So ultimately, that's why I ended up going with that. Now, everything I had to go through to get the car, I want to explain that process. There is no financing here in Colombia for foreigners. So you will have to basically pay cash or get financing in some other way, whether it be a personal loan or, do a credit card or something like that. So I had to wire the money from my US account to my Colombian bank account, which you will need a cedula in order to get a Colombian bank account. And then once it hit my Colombian bank account, I could then transfer it to the dealership and then go from there. Now, I do want to say this, that most of the dealerships, if you're going to a new or for a new car, not a used car dealership, most dealerships, the cars you see in the showroom, those cars, most are not going to be available to buy. They're just there for show. They will have a completely separate car, which is entirely just for test driving. And then once you pay for your car, they will order it. If they don't have the color and model that you want, that will could take 3 to 4 days. And then they also have to order your license plate, which the license plate stays with you, kind of similar as it does if you live in the US. I was living in the state of Florida before I moved here. It's the same there. Even if you sell the car, you keep the license plate, and whatever new car you get after that, that plate transfers with you to that new car, almost kind of as if it's your ID. So you will have to pay your taxes, like regular taxes you would pay on a car. You have to pay something called a SOT or SWAT. Essentially what this is, from my understanding, a kind of insurance you have to pay every year, which is in case you get into an accident or someone is hurt physically with your car, you go into that insurance, and basically it will cover their medical expenses. The SALT does not cover your vehicle at all. If you want insurance for that will be a whole separate insurance. So for my vehicle insurance for a 2025 brand new car, I want to say I'm paying about $90 a month for the year. So it's somewhere around like $1,100 or something around there. I can't remember the exact amount, but it comes out to about $90 a month. So that's everything that I had to pay as far as the extras. And then I would say, that was pretty much it. So lastly, I do want to touch on, do I think it's worth having a car? Do I regret it? Am I having any type of buyer's remorse? Definitely not. I do think it's worth it. Like I said, I decided to buy a used car because I decided to buy a new car because I saw that the used market here, the prices were very high. So I figured, hey, even if it is only a couple years from now and I go to sell a car, I'm really not going to lose that much. But I do plan to stay here long term. So, for at least 5 to 7 years or longer. So even if it's not in Medellin, maybe a different part of Colombia, I can still always take that car with me to that part of Colombia, and I'm still able to be mobile and move when I want to move. Also, it's a huge convenience of being able to just get up and go when you want, or if you have an emergency situation. Also, as well, a big part of why I got a car was to be able to see more of Colombia, or parts of Colombia outside of Medellin. There are a lot of beautiful pueblos, like neighborhoods or small towns essentially outside of Medellin that are like either anywhere between 40 to 2 hours away. So I wanted to be able to do that without having to rent a car. Renting a car here can be pretty expensive. In the States, I know you can rent like a basic Chevy or Hyundai or something like that for between I would say $30 to $35. Here they want somewhere between $60 to $70 a day to rent a car. So it can definitely add up if you want to, travel a lot outside of Medellin, and see those type of places. So as well as, like I mentioned before, it is something a little bit of a status symbol, and as well an anchor showing that you're not going anywhere anytime soon. Excuse me. So no, the answer is no. I don't regret having a car. I absolutely love the convenience of it, and I thought of potentially getting a moto here, like a little scooter or something like that, but it rains a lot in Medellin, and the last thing I wanted to do was, be out and get caught in the rain or have to stay underneath the overpass like you'll see a lot of motorcycles do here once it starts raining. Or, let's say worst case, you're with a woman or you're on a date, and last thing you want to do is be caught in the rain with your date. So a car just gives you that kind of protection. So that's pretty much it for this video. If I missed anything that you guys wanted to know, or any questions that you may have, do me a favor, drop them in the comments, and I'll definitely answer them as soon as I can. That's it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys can, please do me a favor. If you're getting value from these videos, do me a favor and please like and subscribe. And like I said, it does help with the algorithm, but also it does give me motivation to continue making this type of content for you guys. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next one.